what about all of us? Because, you heard so many stories in the beginning that, like Larry and Patrick and Linda were so close, and you kind of heard all these stories, like Victoria Principal was like the outcast and she just didn't get along with him. Like, did you see that? There was always this tabloid fodder about Victoria and them.
No, no. And to this day, I mean, I'm clueless, I guess. And if there was any friction or whatever, I wasn't brought into it and I wasn't a part of it. And I don't know that there was, and I don't believe there was. I've heard those rumors and I've asked and haven't really gotten any answers. So, I don't think so. I got along fine with Victoria. I really did. So that's all uh, I don't think it's as bad as the rumors, to be very honest with you.
Isn't that usually the case? What was she like to work with, Victoria Principal?
The times I worked with her, she she was great. One time, it was my close up and she's and I said, I want cheekbones like yours. She goes, oh, here, I'll help you. So she goes and she gets the makeup artist brush and there's no mirror. I'm sitting in my chair on the set, so we're not doing it in front of a mirror. And so she's putting blush on my cheeks and I get out to go for my close up and I walk on the set and Leonard Katzman, our producer, happens to be directing. And I go to the set and I take my place and I'm ready. And I see Leonard go like this, just stare at me. And all of a sudden he screams out, Victoria. And she said, yes. She had put deep purple just to be funny on my cheeks. So the makeup artist had to go and read. She thought that was funny. But then, so I got
That
her
is
back.
funny.
It was, I thought it was funny. But time is money, and the fact that the makeup artist had to go and redo, it was not a big deal. It was funny. Um, one time though, we were filming at a hospital. And again, there wasn't the makeup trailer or so anyway, so Victoria was getting her makeup done sitting on this bench in the hallway of the hospital. So I had gotten all these hospital supplies like tongue depressors, and I got the surgical, the gloves, and I blew them up and like balloons, and I taped in these hospital swabs and cotton things. And she had no idea, but very carefully, I taped them all over her back. So she had these big blown up hand balloons, tongue depressors, and cotton swabs. I taped them all over her back. And then I put a sign that said bimbo number 9. I have no idea why I wrote that, but it just said bimbo number 9. And I had all these things. So she's done with makeup. She had no idea that I had completely decorated her back while she was getting made up. I was like a ninja. And so she gets up. Now she's standing and she walks through the crew and she makes a comment. And the crew is just busting up laughing. They laugh so hard. And so she walks into the ladies' room. And all of a sudden I hear, Charlene, I'm gonna get you. She said, I told a joke. She goes, I thought, wow, I'm pretty funny today. I've got it going on. And she said, I can see in the mirror all of a sudden, she knew it was me. So we had fun.
That is fun. What about Linda Gray? What was it like to work with Linda Gray?
Well, she's just amazing, lovely, sweet lady, and an amazing actress, and just amazing. Yeah.
We love Linda. Well, listen, Lucy had so many stories that I feel like, were you aware that a lot of Lucy's story, a lot of the stories in general in Dallas, like were just ahead of their time? I mean, like, you were kidnapped by the photographer and then raped, and then you had an abortion. Like that was way ahead of its time. You were engaged to a man who turned out to be gay. That, I mean,
That that was my favorite storyline when I Lucy was engaged to marry Kit Mainwaring, who was the son of the other. There were the Ewings and the Mainwarings that were the predominant Texas oil families, and he was played by a wonderful actor named Mark Wheeler, and it was only 3 episodes, but JR was really excited because it would, sort of marry the 2 fortunes together. And Kit ends up having to tell me, we become engaged, we have this party and all this, and then Kit says, I have to tell you something, Lucy, I love you. And it's because I love you so much, I can't go through with this. I can't marry you because I'm homosexual, and that's not going to change. Back then, they couldn't even use the word gay. And he said, but I'm telling you, JR knows, and he's going to cause trouble, and he's going to out me, and he's going to. And I said, oh no, I'll put JR in his place. He won't do that. The writers handled it so beautifully. And the fact that Lucy stood up to JR and said, you're not going to cause any trouble for Kit. You're not bringing this out into the public. And it was just so ahead of its time and brilliantly done. They showed the bravery of Kit coming out of the closet. They showed Lucy having compassion and letting him come out to the world at his time, not anybody else's time. It was so, eons, it was before the AIDS crisis, before anything. So it was, that's my favorite storyline. And then when Lucy was pregnant, after a rape and wanted an abortion, and I was pregnant with my daughter Cherish at the time. So I'm doing all these scenes with dialogue saying, I have to have an abortion. I can't have this baby. And every time I look at that baby, it'll remind me that I was raped and I don't want this child. And I'm having to say all this stuff when I'm actually pregnant. And I don't want any of that psychologically, emotionally to go to my beautiful baby that I'm carrying. So before every take, I would say, okay, mommy is what you call an actress. I don't mean these words. I love you. I want you. And I never really let myself get as emotionally invested into that storyline about the abortion, just because I was pregnant and I didn't want to fully emotionally go there carrying my child. So
interesting. So as an actress, you're able to just kind of like channel those emotions and kind of go there, but not fully.
I mean, I didn't go as deep as I, normally, as an actor, you're going to let it go through you and you're going to, it's going to be just, when you're living in the moment, it's going to be really real. And I just couldn't do it. I just chose not to do it. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. Were there any storylines that you feel like kind of jumped the shark with Lucy, where you were just like, come on, guys, this is so preposterous or far-fetched, and like, I just don't see this?
No, Lucy was addicted to pills. That was kind of fun. There was one scene where Lucy was addicted to pills, and she was so high, and Sue Ellen was pregnant and drunk, and I'm at the bottom of the stairs, and Sue Ellen is drunk and pregnant and is walking down the stairs and trips and falls and lands at my feet. And I'm so high, I'm just like, oh, Sue Ellen, you went, boom, you fell. And I'm like, I'm too high to help her. I loved that scene. That was just like so crazy.